Hi there, welcome to Animation Style. I'm Jeremy Kahn, and on today's video, we're gonna get right into the swing of things with this awesome Batman Brave and the Bold style guide. And here we'll switch over to the overhead view so we can get a better look at the style guide in all its glory. We have Batman basically running towards you, reminiscent of the intro to the series, with all the big blocks of text that harkens back to the 60s Adam West series, which this show takes a big influence from that era of comics. And inside we got the introduction section, which basically introduces you to the series, the purpose of the guide, and for example, here we have a section here describing that the style guide provides everything you need to create merchandise based on the latest Batman animated series. So this shows that this specific guide is for those looking to make merchandise. Those licensing the characters and properties from the specific series, to toyify them. Gotta be careful here. Gotta be careful here because there is some contact information which would not be good to share. A lot of these side guides actually do come with a lot of information regarding phone numbers, addresses, and such that for people who basically worked on the show at that specific time. In other words, stuff that you definitely don't want getting out there. Like my favorite one I have for my collection, as far as my anime stuff goes, is this director's script for Cowboy Bebop. And that actually came with a bunch of documentation that was used to communicate between the studio employees as they were dubbing the movie at Sony. Though what makes that specific set of documents problematic is that it comes with contact information for those on the talent side, talent agencies, various actors, actresses, and so forth. And these include phone numbers, addresses, and even social security numbers. Yeah, that was a interesting one to come across when I got it. I can't show it, unfortunately, or fortunately for the people who those belong to. Fortunately, I can't show it, and I won't. Anyway, getting back to this, citation over. So here we have the first section where we start seeing the character art, come into play from the line art. You'll usually get like line art, color, models that you can reference. Basically, here we have the this here. We look, let's say we reference disk file. There's a disk in the back that these files all go with. So when you're trying to create or design with this guide in mind, you just reference those files and you'll be able to do what you need. Another thing also is a lot of these guides have fonts that they reference, but the fonts aren't included on the discs. Those would be separate. You have to license those separately from the characters and such. So you can technically use them for reference if you want to at least create a font that's similar. Or if you can find a vendor who's selling them, feel free to do that. Great. This and we'll take care of the sheet. So there. And here we have an introduction to the characters who you can use with your merchandise. Batman, Green Arrow, Red Tornado, Blue Beetle. A lot of fun stuff here. Aquaman, of course, one of the best versions of Aquaman, if I must say so. Then we start moving into the actual character art, where we get a lot of the dynamic poses. Some very fun stuff. And what's also great about these is if you're doing your own comic book, even if it's not Batman related, you still make for great references regarding posing and just, in general, dynamic action shots that you can reference in your own work. And the colors also are really fun. Like if you're doing a comic that's in this vein of the Brave and the Bold era, this is a great way to get an idea of how to go about your own characters and series. So a lot of fun stuff. And also, if you look here, you'll see the file names that, if you look at the CD-ROM, these file names correspond to the specific files on that CD-ROM, so you know where to locate them. Some guides also point to specific discs and so forth that you can. It's a multi-disc set basically. Like some guides come with 4 discs, 2 discs, so forth. So the pages will be broken down to this file on this disc. They try to make it as easy as possible to locate the files you need when you need them. Some more fun. Again, lots of fun character art. Majority of them are usually in the action poses and these types of things. Let's look at, you do get some that are basic, stock, standing poses. Those usually with the more model sheet stuff. These here again are mostly for merchandising purposes, so there are more in action poses since you want your merchandise to be very action oriented. Something that really catches the eye, that entices someone to buy it. Okay, so we're going to be moving into the graphic design section. This here combines character art with various elements. So we get a lot of fun type of stuff with this. And I really love the colors in this type of series. I really love the colors. Just bright, just very fun to look at in general. As a colorist, I'll never, as a colorist, I'll always be appreciative of fire and explosion renderings. Those are always a painted color in. And you can see the various, characters, multiple characters starting to come in. And all these files here also, if you look, they are in EPS format. So they're openable in Illustrator and InDesign. What's interesting is the CD is formatted for Mac. Even if those files have those extensions, your Windows PC won't recognize them, or at least not all of them. I got CDs where half of them recognize, half of them don't. The point is, you'll need to actually go in and manually rename it so the file extension is on there. Otherwise, it won't recognize and won't open. There are, like I said in one of the earlier videos, there are ways around that. You can get one of these special programs that opens the disk as if it was in a CD-ROM drive on the Mac. Basically it creates a virtual Mac partition to open it in. And it works that way. They are pretty easy to figure out as long as you have the right software. So we're moving now to graphic elements. Again, a lot of fun, different designs and patterns. This type of stuff would probably be used on like napkins and bed sheets, clothing, basic stuff for fabric, a lot of stuff. These type of elements, these icons, you see them in various things like from packaging, okay. And then you have, various taglines you can throw onto your items when you make them, underwater power, Crime Stoppers United, Heroes by the Sea. Honestly, I'm focusing on Aquaman so much. I really love his character in this one. Jonathan Majors does a great job. Crime Wave Crushed. Crime Crushers. Crime Busters. That's not really water themed. Heroes by the Sea. A song there. Oh, it's probably used for patches. Okay. Now we're moving into background. Oh wait, are these actually the episode names? I wonder if that's the episode names, not taglines. I have to look it up later. All right, so we are now moving into backgrounds. Here's we get a lot of fun stuff because these are all high-res versions of background scenes you would see in the show or background concept art that they would use that they would use when creating the settings in the show. So basically unfiltered, fully high-res backgrounds. Really great stuff to comb through, get inspiration. That's one of the reasons I really love style guides. It's a lot of fun stuff, and they cover so many different ranges of shows, genres, properties, and so forth. That there's no shortage of if you're working on, let's say, a fantasy piece. And you want a good idea of where to begin designing, where to begin, creating your world for that fantasy series you're working on. You can find a style guide from a different series, like I have a style guide from Quest for Camelot, the Warner Brothers movie. A lot of great, stuff in there that they already referenced. So they did half the job for you already. Just taking that and now creating something, using what already came before as a reference, as a starting point. If anything else, just having things to look through to give you inspiration is really great. Yeah, and here we have the, vehicles and such. The nice, the really great looking Batmobile on this one. Again, reminiscent of the, 60s Adam West one with the bat in the front. Oh, and here we go. Also, we now are starting to see some of the PMS, color codes. These here are really great for color matching, basically. Like if you're working with a property, being able to make sure everything not just looks right, from the drawing perspective, but coloring as well. Characters are colored a specific way, and that coloring should be consistent across the board. Just keep note that PMS, I think it was Photoshop, no longer has license to the PMS stuff. It would be hard to match some of these colors nowadays. You actually, even without the license stuff issue going on, it's still a pain in the butt to match some of these because they're specific to those companies. The companies technically own those specific types of colors. Like you actually can copyright color schemes, in regards to character designs and such. Like so. Some more great stuff from the bat plane. And then we get into like, some of the gadgets, some really great stuff to look at. Bat grenade, batarang, bat binoculars, bat tweezers for your bat splinters, bomb detector, bat missile, because bomb detector to detect your missiles. Well, GPS. Say geek detector. Yeah, high-tech device geek detector. Well, okay. Bat Snuggles, yay! All right. Then we have how the gadgets and stuff are equipped and used. See, it really is like a blueprint for how these things look. How they combine. It's really I enjoy looking through these. So now we're moving on to the turnarounds. These are the more static poses, the turnarounds. Front, side, and so forth. And of course, if you're looking at this Batman versus, I don't know, well, let's say the Kevin Conroy Batman, from the animated series, the color schemes would be vastly different. This one's, again, more of the Adam West one, so you have more of the blues and grays, which would go here. But the other one, the Kevin Conroy one, would have a different type of color scheme as well. That's why it's important to have these color guidelines in place so you know how to color your character, what colors to reference. It's important for big brands to have that. Some good Blue Beetle stuff, a Tornado. And what's nice also is this series, the Brave and Bold series, was the first one a lot of these more obscure characters appeared in. I'm not saying these specific characters are obscure, themselves, but there are plenty in the series which are, that never really had a shot in any other medium, aside from the comics, obviously. So you get to see a lot of great, quality artwork for those characters. All right, so we reached the end here with Plastic Man at the end. And as I mentioned, we have a CD-ROM here with all the digital versions of the assets on there. And again, the files themselves will be mentioned, on the pages, which you can then reference on the CD and use as you want. And again, the files tend to be, EPS, AI, basically compatible with Illustrator and InDesign. And as a result, you can actually edit the files, you repurpose them, do a lot of fun stuff with them, basically. The only thing you really don't get, again, is the fonts. And unfortunately, the fonts aren't usually embedded in these programs. So if you get like a graphic that has a font in it, most often has been turned into an outline. So you can't really create something else with that font. It's just a matter of working with what's there. You can't have it say something else. You can edit it. So, all right. That covers the style guide portion of this video. And we'll see you in the flip side. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that look at the Batman Brave and the Bold style guide. We got plenty more press kits and style guides to show you. So be sure to check out future videos, like and subscribe, and same Bat channel, same Bat network. Hey there, welcome back to the same Bat. Welcome back, talking too much Batman. I got too much Bat in the brain now. All right, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that look at the Batman Brave and the Gold Booster. I don't know. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that look at the Batman Brave and the Bold style guide.